Welcome to Lola Lee Chat. Hey everyone, how are you guys doing? Welcome to my channel. So I'm going to be doing a recap and review of the Auntie podcast, season 1, episode 8. The show hosts for the podcast are Tokyo Toni, Tia Kemp, and KARLISSA. So Tokyo Toni was all smiles and introduces her fellow aunties, and she seems to be in better spirits this episode. Episode 7 was an absolute mess. So go check it out. The link is in my bio. So Toni is really excited for this interview. She's really excited to interview the new guest. They start talking about the guest, Antonio's beast. KARLISSA said she's seen it. It's thick, ashy, and black. Tia is very curious about where KARLISSA saw his beast. KARLISSA said he was with the Trump girl, and KARLISSA's real proud of herself that she's been doing her homework on the guests. They decide who is going to start things up when the guest comes out. Toni's a little nervous. She said she heard he's a loose cannon. So the ladies welcome the guest, who is Antonio Brown. He is a retired football player. He is also known as Nunu's baby daddy, Nunu from the Baddies Caribbean. They compliment him on his clothing. Tia said, "Let's stop all this weirdish. You're from Dade County." Toni said, "It's rumored you slept with Tom Brady's wife." He said, "No, he ain't hit that," but they had a moment. But it took some time, some work for the ladies to get a straight answer out of him, and they worked really well together in this situation. Tia asked him why he gave up football for music. He spoke in riddles, and it sounds like he's tired because football has their own media and they have their own spin on everything, and the fans take it as that. Tia asked him who else he hit out in the industry. KARLISSA asked what happened with Keisha Cole. He said he wasn't trying to be booed up. He said older ladies want that. The aunties are curious why he let Keisha get the tattoo of his name on her neck if he wasn't serious. They want to know, why would you embarrass Keisha? Toni explained how he embarrassed Keisha because he wasn't really understanding. She said, "You went online and said, 'Girl, it ain't like that.'" Antonio offers Toni to take a test drive, you know what I mean? As you know, if she wants a test drive. Tia asked him about the baby mama situation and why he went to jail for not paying child support. He said his lawyer said he was done with it, but they had police by his gate for not paying. And he made it clear that he has paid what he owes. Toni asked him what type of women does he like to deal with. And she was speaking from the rumors, apparently he likes Becky women. But he got that ghetto girl, Nunu, and the other ghetto girl, and the others, is what Toni was saying. So Antonio wants Tokyo to come sit with him because he can tell that she wants him. But Toni is more focused, and she wants to hear about all those baby mamas. He said he didn't want Nunu to drop his name to get on the show Baddies. The ladies tried to explain to him that everything is by association in the industry and that using his name would actually help her. But he really didn't say why it would be a problem for her to use his name. Toni asked him, "But your kids ask you, where's my daddy?" He said he is present, so they do not ask that question. He actually named every last one of his 6 kids. He said he handles business. He said he takes responsibility for what is his. Tia asked, "Do you want to return to football?" And Antonio said he has done everything football that he wants to do. And then KARLISSA asked, "What about the fans you're laying down?" Toni asked him why he was popping his peach in Becky's face. She saw that on his OnlyFans. He did say he didn't have an OnlyFans, but he said it was actually a pool party. Toni actually called him rude. And then Toni called her selfish and a demon. Tony asked him to freestyle about getting a job with Zeus, and he actually freestyled a few times. Tia mentioned that he filed for bankruptcy the other day, and he didn't really answer that question. Antonio kept calling Tony a demon. Tia wanted to know why he keeps calling her that. And Tony says because he wants to sleep with her and he can't. Antonio wanted Tony so bad that he was telling KARLISSA to switch spots with Tony. And he was actually licking his lips. So while he's freestyling for Tokyo Tony, Tony twerks for him. So he talks about Kanye West and said he is the president of Donda, which is named after Kanye's mom. He talks about the dove pendant that he's wearing and that it was given to him by Kanye West and what the pendant represents. KARLISSA said, "Now that you're broke, what are you going to do to get money rolling again?" He said, "Hopefully work for Zeus." He actually wants to be a baddie. Tony asked him how did Kanye find him. He said when he walked off the field, he got in touch with him through Justin LaBoy. KARLISSA asked him why he walked off the field in the first place, and he said because he had had enough of Blankish, and he said his teammates were against him. They asked him if Kanye had fired him, and he said, "You can't fire a blank like me." So KARLISSA wanted to know what happened with the Madonna and Floyd Mayweather photo shoot. He said something about a movie theater that night. Then him and Tony started flirting again. Tia asked him if he would ever tattoo a woman's name to his body. He said depends on the scenario. Then he started up talking about the movie theater again, and mind you, he has no tattoos on his body at all. So because he kept calling Tony a demon, KARLISSA asked, what makes her a demon? What makes a woman a demon to you? He said because she doesn't only have one man, she has multiple men. And Tia wants to know, does it matter that she's been married for 14 years? But he tried to butter Tony up by calling her a boss and complimenting her daughter's influencer skills. Tia wanted to know if he still lives in Miami. He said yes. Tony wants to know if he stuffs his pants because that's what it looks like to her. He denied stuffing his pants. KARLISSA asked him how does he handle it when men flirt with men, and he said men do not flirt with him, Miss KARLISSA. But KARLISSA did not let up. She kept asking him the same thing but different ways. And Tokyo kept asking him about flashing his peach in the pool with Becky. She thought that was very weird. Tony wanted to know his body count. He said he doesn't use protection, but didn't give a body count. He kept flirting with Tony, and she reminded him that she's old enough to be his mom, while, of course, he freestyled for her. Antonio kept saying movie theaters. Tony asked if he has CTE. He thinks that everybody has traumas from their upbringing and what they had to go through. He said because people don't understand that they're just going to call you crazy. In the NFL, they don't know what's wrong with you. They're just going to classify it as CTE. Tony asked him, was his attitude problem trauma? And Tony answered, no, he's actually a good player. So they talked about the moment when he walked off the field and he took his equipment off. The aunties wanted to know what the buildup was that led to that moment. So Antonio said he was injured, then COVID came around, and the NFL's policy was to play. You had to have the jab, and he said he had held out for a while. Then he did get the jab, and then he quit halfway through the game, which kind of makes no sense to me. Tokyo wanted to see his abs, and as for football, he said he's happy he left. He says he has no regrets. He made it very clear he pays child support. He said he went to jail because he had the wrong lawyer. And he said he knows the names of all 6 of his kids, maybe one more on the way. He did have 2 women pregnant at the same time. He said he had his first child at 18. His mom worked at night, and his dad, Eddie Brown, played football, and as a kid, he said he was home alone a lot. Tia asked him if he was filing for bankruptcy, asking how he's going to be taking care of all those children if he's filing for bankruptcy, and he said he needs boss women like the aunties to come to the table. KARLISSA asked him for the 7th maybe baby. Are we going to be getting a white baby or a black baby? And this is the KARLISSA that we know on Instagram Lives. So her personality is finally starting to show, but he didn't answer the question. And Antonio would randomly say things that made no sense, like the movie theater, or she's a demon. So Tia asked, you're talking in code. KARLISSA wanted to know what the movie theater means. What is that all about? Because he kept saying movie theater, talking about demons. He didn't give an answer, just riddles sometimes. Tony wanted to know what's the oldest woman he's ever been with. He said he's still looking for her. Antonio said he did file for Chapter 11, and they asked him why Kanye didn't give him money or loan. And he said Kanye doesn't like to touch money. He said he does not get paid to work for Kanye. He said he's making a life. He's already made a living. That sounds like a song. But he knows he's broke, but he's telling the aunties he needs a job. He's asking them for an opportunity. But I'm thinking, why doesn't he ask Kanye for an opportunity? I'm sure Kanye could pay him. He seems to really want a job with Zeus. And I think Zeus should give him a dating show. Antonio continues to speak in riddles, and Tony even called him a 35-year-old mental patient. Tony wanted to know about his underpants. And once again, Tony wanted to know about his preference in women. He said he dates all women. Tony wanted to know why he cut his eyebrows like that. They continued to flirt back and forth. KARLISSA said they needed a room, so she decided to wrap up the interview. KARLISSA gave Antonio some advice. She said, keep doing what you're doing to these bees. Tony said she was going to give him her number so she could mentor him. She said to him to watch himself when it comes to a grown blank woman. She said he's a little bit wild and he needs to calm down a little. And she thinks he should mentor young people. She also told him to use protection. And she said to him to ask Zeus for a job. Tia's advice was, did he think about his fans even though he was giving up football? She reminded him that even though he's retired, he's leaving behind a legacy. She said, so many people love you. And Antonio with a closing message, and I actually love this. He said, always believe in yourself. Perception is not reality. You create your own reality. Keep God first and keep overcoming adversity to be great. So that was the interview, guys. And here's my 2 cents. I think that Antonio Brown interview was bizarre, funny at times, and the ladies handled themselves very well. This man speaks in riddles, and he didn't really answer all their questions. He had his own language for things, and I think he's a very interesting person. I think this episode, the ladies are getting much better. They are all getting their questions in more now. They were all being more interactive. And Tony was not hogging the spotlight this episode. She wasn't bullying KARLISSA, and I like that. And I'm actually glad that I got to see where they started and where they are now. So I can just imagine what they're going to be like on season 2. They're going to be well seasoned. And I agree with Tony's advice for Antonio that he needs to calm down. He really does. My advice for the aunties is to keep working together as a team. Do your research on all the guests. Decide before the show who is going to lead the interview. I would like to see the ladies sit in different spots on the couch. Maybe if there is one guest, all the ladies can be sitting on one couch. And the ladies all seem to have a designated spot where they sit. I think they should change that up. And for those of you that watch the show tonight, definitely let me know what your advice is for all the aunties, also for Antonio Brown. And as I said to you guys in the last recap I did, I did not have the Zeus Network. I had canceled my membership because of all the BS that was going on with Krishan. And I actually resubscribed for you guys so that I could do the recaps. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would comment. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please share it because it does take a lot of work to do these recaps. So thank you guys very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.